Camera number 376 is the Canon Z135. It's part of the Sure Shot series of cameras, point and shoot, also known as Prima as well, and requires batteries to operate all its functions. So let's go ahead and put some batteries in the compartment just here. So the camera takes two CR123s. That's a 3-volt battery, so that's two of them, and we put those in with the plus and the negative in the correct orientation, and then we have to screw the battery lid back on, which isn't always that easy. While I'm just doing that, you'll notice there's a tripod mount on the base. That's the only other thing on the base of the camera. Shame they couldn't have done one of these hinged affairs, but there we go, they haven't. It's not a major problem. There we go. So hopefully the camera is now ready to use, and the way we find out is we take it off the off function, and there we go. So every time we turn the camera on, the flash is lifted up and the lens moves out. The lens is a 38 to 135 millimeter, 3.5 to 8.9, so maybe regarded as a slow lens, but I think it certainly makes up in many other ways. So that's at its normal shooting mode. If we extend the focal length by the rocker button on the top here, we'll see how far it goes out. So there's the 135 focal range, and we can take it in, and although on the barrel it has marks for the focal lengths, you can go in between them, so that's nice. You're not restricted to those. That's good. So turning our attention now to the back of the camera where all the controls are found. We have our viewfinder, and our viewfinder has two little LEDs on the outside here on the left. One is green, that lights up when we've achieved focus, and the orange one is when the flash is fired. And the flash is often fired, is pretty much fired all the time really, unless we turn it off. And we can turn it off by uncovering this little flap that opens up some more options of the camera. Let's just turn it around, there we go. So we have two or three buttons. The first one here on the right is mid-roll rewind. So we have to have a little pointy thing, and we can then rewind that. So that's always a nice inclusion, I feel. And then the second button here is cycles through various flash modes. So if we just press the button first, we've got flash, or red eye flash, or red eye reduction. We then have flash, no flash, and then we have slow sync flash. And the little icon there is when perhaps we would use it of a night time, and we're perhaps taking a portrait, and we just want the person and the background is left in its correct exposure, as it were, and then that's it. And then the final button, we toggle through self timer, and then we have exposure compensation, plus 1.5, minus 1.5, and then hopefully can turn it off. There we go, we can turn it off. Excellent. Okay, so then the camera is normally on the off, so let's just cycle through some of these options here. We have auto mode, where the camera truly is a point and shoot, all the decisions made there. I mean, the camera makes all the decisions in a sense always, but we have these other creative modes. So for example, we have sports mode, where the camera will try and choose fast shutter speeds, and it also includes continuous mode. So if we hold the shutter button down, it will continue to take photographs for as long as we keep our finger down, so that's nice. We then go through nighttime portrait, and you'll notice the slow sync flash is activated with that. There we go. Right, so that only shoots once when we keep our finger down. And then we have portrait mode. Interestingly, flash again is used as and when it needs to. And then macro mode. Now macro mode, the lens comes out to about 93 or 94 millimeters. We can't change that using the rocker switch here. And what's nice about this macro mode, I've not seen it, how close you can get. Typically you can only get about 3 feet away, but with this one, oh no, you can get even closer. You can get within half a meter, which is about 1.5 feet, which really does open up the macro function of the camera. So looking forward to trying that. The only thing is it does come at perhaps a price, and we'll see that in just a few moments. But let's just go back to the dial here. Let's just go back through that. We have a spot mode, so spot metering can be activated with that. And then we have S Auto. Now I can't find out what that is, S Auto. So if someone can illuminate me, that would be very much appreciated. Don't know, is it spot metering on auto that the camera makes the decision depending on the circumstances? Maybe, I don't know. Now the camera boasts AIAF Smart autofocus function. Now I'm reading it from the manual here. The AIAF function has a wide measuring area and blah 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 blah. The camera focuses on the subject even if it's not in the center of the viewfinder or if there is an obstruction in front of it. And there are 3 points, 3 focus points, and the camera apparently intelligently decides which of those it will choose. Unfortunately, the reality is it doesn't always get it right, as I'll show later on, particularly in macro mode, which is what I use the camera in. And what we have to do, it's a bit of an extra step you have to take when focusing. When you look through the viewfinder, you have the focus point in the middle, and you basically have to focus first of all, so by pressing the button down on your subject. But then in macro mode you have to compose your picture, and basically there's a little line about a third, maybe halfway down, and one along the other axis as well, and you basically have to shift the focus, or shift the image, beg your pardon, and then take the photograph. And it takes a while. Unfortunately I didn't do it a couple of times. I focused and took the image, and unfortunately the photograph hasn't come out. The image is sort of 1/3 down in the left hand corner, and so you have to try and compensate for that. Combine that with this focusing system, and unfortunately it got a few things wrong. It did get it right, and when it did get it right, the focus is very sharp. But as always is the case with these things, it doesn't always get it right, and when it doesn't, it makes a horrible, and I'll show that in the next couple of images. So here are some of the images that I took with the camera in macro mode, and I'm just illustrating how the camera functions, or some of the functions of the camera. With this first image you can see it's really done the job really. It's focused nice and on the daffodils there, and the background's nicely rendered, unsharp, which is good. And again, this illustrates how sharp the image with the right light. I don't think I had the flash fire on that occasion, and it really has rendered the image nice and sharp. And again here illustrates how sharp, but also the flash is just slightly overpowered in macro mode. That's not untypical of those kinds of cameras. And when we go into macro mode, the camera chooses spot metering mode. I did focus on these flowers, but whether I didn't correctly then recompose, or whether I focused, and the same here with the dandelion, I thought I focused on the dandelion, but the foreground is in focus. So just a note really more than anything, that when we do use macro mode, we really do have to pay attention to focusing on the image, holding that focus and then recomposing, otherwise we get images like the ones that I've got here. So despite those limitations, the camera is a very competent camera. Not sure it's quite pocketable. Let's just turn it off. Got big pockets, I suppose, but it has got a lot of functionality in a smallish body, and I certainly enjoyed using it. So that's the Canon Z135.